Time to get this project to the finish line by building our custom exhaust. Dude, this week is going to be a very interesting week. I am going to do something I have never, ever done before, and that is weld. I guess I've JB welded, if that counts for anything. All along I've thought that I just wanted to pay somebody and have it done professionally, and the more I think about it, I have done everything on this car myself with my own two hands inside this garage, and I want to finish it. I want to do it all. I want to build the exhaust. So we're gonna do that, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I talked about how there was a young man at work that had a welding machine. As it turns out, that just kind of fell through, and I can't really explain it, but it just did. The one important thing is I always have a plan. I made some calls, found a place that actually rents welding machines for a good weekly rate, and got my hands on one, and I'm really excited about that. One other thing I'm excited about is my youngest son, who you guys, I don't even think you guys have met yet. He's actually going to be helping us this week. He actually earned his merit badge in Boy Scouting and welding, so he's got some basic knowledge and should be able to help us get some really cool welds. That'll be awesome to have him in the garage teaching me something, so that'll be cool. Today, I just want to get familiar with the welder, do some testing, pull out all the parts to the exhaust, lay it all out, show you what I have in store. And yeah, should be pretty cool, man.
Just a reminder of kind of where we're at with our exhaust system. We had these two. This originally was all one piece. This Y pipe right here connected. This is the original Skyline Y pipe. However, when it was put in the car, it actually would not fit correctly. It was up too high. It was actually touching the body of the car here, and it kind of went up into this area here, so it wouldn't actually mount correctly. So I had to hack off the Y piece. And now we have these two individual pipes here. And instead of them being up parallel to each other like this, we're actually gonna have to mount them diagonally as it pertains to the car here. And instead of using that Y pipe, I've actually got another Y pipe right here that we'll be using to bring these two 2.5-inch pipes together. Once it comes out of that Y, you can see there's a 45-degree elbow here, which will go into another 45-degree elbow, which should take us roughly right into the center of the car. I've got this 18-inch stainless steel resonator here, which will then lead into, you could see the X pipe laid out, and we're gonna be cutting the X pipe right here and then attaching some straight line in there. Now, I've got a 4-foot long piece of 3-inch pipe just to use as straight pipe for wherever we need it. Of course, all of this is just raw materials. This isn't exact measurements and everything. We're just gonna have to start piecing it together. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take either this, actually, or just cut some pieces off this X pipe, since I know I'm not gonna use the front area here. Just start tinkering around, doing some practice welds, and getting familiar and comfortable with the welder itself. You know, I actually forgot I even had this chop saw until I was cleaning out my garage, and I found it on a shelf. So I already went out and got a metal blade for it, so we're good to go. I used this to actually cut those aluminum shims, and now it should get through this pipe just like we need it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing in half right where I need to actually keep our usable piece, and then the rest of this I'm just gonna kind of cut up and play with and do some learning with. Cool beans, man. Got the piece that we're gonna save, hacked up the rest. Here we go. Time for a little practice. What are some fundamental things that I need to be thinking about?
Obviously safety first.
Yeah.
Helmet. This one here is an auto darkening one, which is very highly suggested.
What about just welding itself? I mean, what do I need to be thinking about when I'm just trying to join some pieces of metal together?
Welding is all about electricity, like basically, as well as that, like you just use the heat of electricity to like bind the metals and stuff.
Like I noticed you got the nozzle here, and that's got a wire that comes out of it, and then there's also this, I guess, a ground cable. So we just attach the ground to whatever we are working on?
Yep.
And can we touch whatever we're working? Is there current flowing through it, or do we need to be worried about electrocution?
Yeah, especially if you start welding.
Bro. Yeah, MIG welder, test pipes, safety. I guess we'll get prepared and try a couple things. All right, so we did some practice. What do you think? Again, that's what it's all about, man. It's practice. I could definitely say that there's better material that we could be welding with. We're just trying to do the best we can. And that's why we're going to practice, right? So if this doesn't prove to be fruitful, we'll go from there. But check this out. It's not breaking. It's definitely welded together. It's not pretty, but it's awesome. I'm gonna give it a little bit of shot. Play around for a little bit. Not play around. We'll be safe. No playing. Okay.
If you need to clip the wire, just tell me.
Alright, so for my very first welds ever in my life, that's my very first one, and it looks like I actually burned through a little bit right there. This is my second one. It was an uneven surface. We definitely need to get some more light in here, but it's bonded. Definitely gonna take some more practice. Man, X is teaching me a lot of good stuff. Definitely gonna keep practicing and perfecting our craft. You're the man, dude. I'm excited. The good news is that we have this welder for an entire week. So, like, today is only Tuesday. So we got, you know, the next couple nights to really get comfortable with the welder, and then the weekend to really get the hardcore work done. So definitely not in a rush, taking our time, making sure we're doing it right. Dude, it's so cool, like, to be a dad and, like, watching your son, like, weld something. That's pretty awesome. Dude. It's ugly. It's really, really ugly, but man, it's functional. It's taken me a while. It actually took me 2 tries to get this pipe done. First time I did it, it was kind of, it was messy, and this ended up being a little bit crooked and whatnot. I'll tell you what, man, there is a huge difference between stainless steel pipe you're buying from Summit Racing and stainless steel exhaust that you're getting off of eBay, because this stuff is just been melting like butter, while this stuff is taking the weld. So it's been really hard to find the right voltage setting to, like, really get this to go, but this is the first big hurdle. It's ugly, absolutely, but dude, this is my very first time welding, and I'm doing it myself. I'm excited. Next is for this resonator. This will actually fit right over this once I shape it out a little bit better. So far, so good, man. Coming along. All right, day 3, actually, in the garage doing the welding. Still in the same awesome shirt, but that's just because I'm getting slag everywhere, and I don't feel like ruining a whole bunch of clothes. Plus, I'm kind of limited on long sleeve apparel that isn't gonna make me, like, sweat to death in here. So I want to bring you in and kind of show you where I'm at. Sometimes things don't exactly go to plan, but dude, you just make those little adjustments and everything works out cool. But check this out, man. It's really coming along. Aw, snap. So coming off that Y pipe, already got some tack welds you can see in place right there. Y pipe's bringing it together. Got a 3-inch. I'm putting a flange right in there, and then going straight into the resonator. Now, from this point back, that's all done. I still have to tack weld right there to the resonator. Tack weld those flanges in place. Tack weld that into the Y. And then once all that stuff is tacked and it's not gonna move anywhere, I'm gonna pull it all out, put it on the bench, just because I'm not experienced in getting on top of this stuff and making sure I don't have exhaust leaks. Like, I just don't want to take a chance with that. But man, I'm really satisfied with the way this is turning out. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's getting exciting. And now all I can think about is, like, what is this thing gonna sound like? I know what it sounded like as an NA. I'm really wondering what it's gonna sound like as a twin turbo, man. That's kind of freaky, right? It's kind of freaky. Like, what's my baby gonna look like when they're born? What's my exhaust gonna sound like when it's done? I don't know. All right, more work, taking advantage of the last bit of daylight that I have today. Tack welds are in, man. And you know, after more consideration, it is actually dinner time. It would be the perfect time for me to just take a break, make some dinner tonight, I actually have tomorrow off because it's a Hawaiian state holiday. I think all of this will be taken down tomorrow, put it on the bench, get our 2 pieces of exhaust completely welded up. Man, tomorrow afternoon, I think we're driving. If anything, we're idling. I'm really happy with the way this is all fitting. Aw, yeah.
Day 4, I think it is. Day 4, it's Friday. It's actually Hawaii Statehood Day, so it's a state holiday. I have the day off of work, which is awesome. It's it's clear on this side, but on the side that the sun is on, it's still really overcast, so it's really nice and cool. I've already been out here in the garage early in the morning, and I have our 2 pieces of exhaust pulled out. And man, I'll tell you what, I'm actually pretty happy with that tack weld. So one thing that's really different between, so I'm MIG welding for one, MIG welding. Most commonly people will TIG weld because I think it's a little bit cleaner. Also, I'm using a flux core wire which doesn't require gas, and the one thing I'm learning is that the gas in welding actually helps to create like a shield around the spark itself, which just allows everything to stay contained and clean. And so what I end up with is all this spattering, which, you know, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not too worried. But these are our 2 pieces, man. Ah, so excited. So now I got it on the bench. I'm going to finish out all the welding of the pieces that I tacked in place. Also, this is the one I did completely under the car, and most of it's pretty good. Right on the top, definitely need to seal that up a little bit better. But yeah, once I get this finished, we're going to toss it back in, and I think we might actually get to listen to her purr in just a couple hours. Woo! Every little time, I'm getting progressively and progressively better, man, and I'm liking it. I'll tell you what, man, the magic secret to welding is figuring out, depending on the material you're using, is the voltage setting and the speed at which the wire actually comes out of the thing. And when you figure those 2 out, man, good things start happening. This is manufacturer weld. That's my weld. It's still dirty. It still needs to be cleaned up. I'm liking it, man. I'm liking it. So now I've got my wideband O2 sensor. I need to weld in the bung. I think I'm going to put it like right about here, facing inward. This will point it towards the transmission. Should be in a nice protected, clean area. Let's do that next. Here's the bung for the wideband that needs to go in. I got back under the car, kind of put this pipe back in position on the actual engine, and determined that this little X spot right here is exactly where we need to put our bung, and that'll allow it to kind of head back towards the transmission and actually stay protected. And I'll be able to attach the leads off of it directly to the transmission mount, making use of that clip that doesn't get used for a ground anymore, so that's all good. Now, in order to drill this big of a hole, and we're using this stepped drill bit, this needs a 7/8. This goes all the way up to 7/8, so should be good to go. And with the utmost of my confidence, guys, I'm saying here is the new exhaust for the RBZ. I've gone over it, I've checked, I've double checked, I've brushed all the welds. Again, they're not pretty, and I'm cool with that. But I think anything that could potentially have been a leak, I believe I've plugged, which has made some of the pretty welds not so pretty, but most of it is pretty good to go. Guys, I'm gonna bolt it up, get it all snug, get it all good, make sure all the gaskets are good to go, and we're gonna start it up and see how this baby sounds with this exhaust. All the exhaust is in, and I, as usual, am a hot, sweaty mess. But man, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous almost like a first start, because this really is going to be different. Like, the car is actually going to sound the way it's going to sound. I mean, this is going to be its voice. And I'm kind of nervous as to what that's going to sound like. But before we do that, man, and I'm not trying to build up anticipation, or maybe I am, I don't know. But anyway, let's check out how all the exhaust came together. I'm really pretty proud of it.
we used a split that was existing. I bought an X pipe back in the day because I knew eventually this would be a thing. This is a 3-inch piece of straight pipe that was cut and flattened out a little bit to go. We got an 18-inch resonator, high performance, I think MagnaFlow resonator. A 45-degree bend, put a flange in, another 45, and then we got our Y pipe, and that goes up to our 2 turbos. Now, something changed in our original, from our original tack welds to the final welds. Something actually changed, and this was a real beast getting back in, specifically up there in the flange area, and I'm kind of nervous I might have an exhaust leak, but here you can see the bung, man, it worked out perfectly, exactly how I wanted it. The wire comes perfectly out, gets into our little clip there, and then that's just going to follow the transmission harness up to the firewall where we'll go inside right at the ECU. So that is incredible and amazing. I'll actually be able to get rid of a lot of excess wire on the other side of that. Really happy with it. I really inspected all the pipe over, so Lord willing, I will not have any exhaust leaks. If I do, hopefully they're easy welds. All right, let's stop fooling around, man, and let's see what she sounds like. All right, we're gonna start in the car together, see what it sounds like in here. Bro. Dude, that's sounding really good. I don't hear any ticking like an exhaust leak. Now I can actually hear the engine for real, and it sounds so nice. Let's work our way around to the back. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Let's get it a couple quick revs, and then I need to get underneath and check for leaks. Oh man, it sounds incredible. Alright, let me check for leaks. I'll be right back. Alright, so the good news is most of the exhaust was amazing. Bad news is there are a couple leaks. And they're in the places that I feared they would be, man. They're back in that rear Y pipe, in that cheap eBay pipe that was melting and just having really tough time sealing. It was also my very first weld, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on that. I still have this welder for a couple more days, but I need to hurry because we need to enjoy this car this weekend, man. It is too nice out not to. Guys, she sounds amazing. Amazing. I just went for a drive. So I patched all the things. Took a long time because that was that cheap exhaust piece that was melting and just really lots of holes. So just went for a drive about 3.5 miles, not getting over 35 miles an hour. This is actually the second time the fan has come on. Both times we're here in the garage. It didn't even come on until I got back here, so that means the temperature is being awesome. I did do one boost up to, I think, about 9 pounds, but only really quick. But guys, she sounds amazing. Tell me what you think about this exhaust note, man. I am really, really, really happy with the sound of it. And just at cruising speed, when we're doing, you know, just regular cruising, there's no drone whatsoever. It's just a nice soft tone. Right on. Right on. Guys,
Oh man, it's all good in the hood, man. I'm feeling really good. Now we just got some break-in miles, some babying, a lot of nerves, but I mean, I'm very confident of all my work. I'm confident of everything I've done. I'm a very meticulous person, sometimes annoyingly so to my wife if you ask her, I'm sure. It's all about details to me, man, details. Details in the way it looks, details in the way it runs, details in everything. I want to talk about the welding, man. I was really nervous to do my own welding. I'm going to tell you what, it doesn't take a special school, and it doesn't take a special degree or certification. I watched some YouTube videos and I did a lot of practice, and the real trick is just finding out what your welding machine will do and what it won't do with the material you're working with, and just patience, just patience. If there's one piece of advice I'm gonna give you in working on cars, in just being a garage mechanic, it's that you got to be willing to make mistakes. If you're not willing to make mistakes and pay for those mistakes, then you're never gonna accomplish great things. What does this mean for TueZday Garage, man? I've been thinking a lot about how does this end? And I think I know how it ends. I think we take the RBZ and we go back to that beach that we did 100,000 miles on, and we catch it at sunrise, and we just look back at this journey, man. I think that's how we do it, man. The next time we're together, that's where we're going.